This is Tech Vibe Radio, your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. Tech Vibe is brought to you by Compunetics at Compunetics.com, Chorus Call at ChorusCall.com, Highmark at Highmark.com, Huntington Bank at Huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at PNC.com, and Savier at Savier.com. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios. Good morning. Thanks for joining me here for Tech Vibe Radio. It's Jonathan Kirsting, and today's show, we are doing a full nerd out on all things VR. When I say VR, I mean virtual reality. And one of the first companies here in Pittsburgh that really went hard on virtual reality is OpenArc. I'm going to tell everyone right now, if you got your laptop open, whatever it is, go to openarc.net, check out their site, because they do so much more than just VR. But VR has been a real strong point for them, and I think everybody is fascinated with VR. And joining me on the show today is Mark Williams, who is the lead client partner at OpenArc. Mark, thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm really glad to have you here to talk about all things VR. I want to get nerdy about it, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Most definitely. So first and foremost, just tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do with OpenArc. What does it mean when you're like the lead client partner there?
Yeah, I head up our sales efforts on the consulting side of our business. So OpenArc has a talent acquisition side and a consulting side. So on the talent acquisition side, they do all kinds of staffing, hiring for companies. And then on our side, we have an internal team and we do consulting work, everything from user experience design to web and mobile app development to virtual reality.
Very cool stuff. I mean, this is like leading edge tech that you guys are developing out there. And the VR stuff, I think VR just captures everybody's attention this day and age. And it's been about 7 or 8 years since you guys really started putting a business application to it, which I think is fun. I mean, VR is great. You put your things on, you can play games and experience things. But when you have businesses that are deploying it to train and keep people safe, I just love seeing like the business aspect of it. That to me is just amazing.
Yeah. It was like 8 years ago. One of our clients at the time, MSA Safety, I guess you know by now.
Exactly.
Asked us to look at doing a VR environment for a trade show application. So it was more of a marketing piece. And we did that. It was a confined space environment, 3 different confined space environments that showcase some of their products that help extract people from dangerous situations.
Yeah.
They couldn't really showcase that at a trade show, kind of live. So they did it in virtual reality, and their booth won the best in show.
Well, how could it not if it's got VR behind it like 8 years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's interesting. So like, I mean, you probably weren't doing much in VR then, but they came to you and like, we need VR. And you're like, we can do that. That's kind of cool. So you guys kind of like got some VR chops pretty quick to help them solve this problem, right?
Yeah. We were pretty open and honest. We had some engineers who were playing with it at home, building games, things like that, but nothing that we'd done on an enterprise scale.
Right.
So they were patient with us, and
that's a big client too. That's something where it's like, we can't mess this up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, how exciting is that then for your engineers, where they can be throwing some pretty cool assignments like, yeah, I've been geeking out on this at home, but now to actually do it for a business application, I'd be pretty excited to build that product for MSA.
Yeah, exactly. They were very excited. Some of them got invited to a board meeting to showcase it to the MSA board. So that was a little bit awkward for them being engineers, but I think they enjoyed it.
Very cool. No, I love it. I remember there was a year we had our Tech 50 awards, and I think it was with MSA. You actually demoed that technology.
We did
at our event, and I actually got to use it. It was, and thinking how long ago it was compared to what we're doing now, it was still so cool because I remember I actually had to climb down a ladder into like a manhole and like turn some valves off or something like that. And you had to follow the instructions. And I remember like, we're in this big reception room at the Wyndham Hotel, or wherever it was, and I'm trying to climb back up this ladder, and it was actually like so realistic that you felt like I almost got disoriented because part of my brain was tapping into to reality around me, not the reality in which my brain was being targeted. But I was like, this is cool. And to know that 8 years later, this is going strong and even stronger. So I'm assuming like the technology's become so much more immersive. Probably all the equipment's not as bulky as it once was and everything like that.
Yeah, if you remember at that show, we had a a space set up. We needed about 12 square feet.
Yeah, you
of
took a lot. You
space,
took a lot of real
towers.
estate up, man. Yeah, because you need to
Exactly.
mark the perimeter off of to where you could actually be and where it knew you were and everything like that. It was cool.
Exactly. Whereas everything we do now is mostly everything is on the MetaQuest platform, so it's very portable. You don't need any of the towers. You don't need that space. You can set up your perimeter, right around you without any of that equipment. So it's a lot
interesting.
easier.
So a lot less gear you got to take with you.
You take one bag, have everything in it.
One bag, and you're ready to go. Oh,
everything gets loaded right onto the device itself, so you don't have to worry about running a computer on the side that is gonna feed what's in the headset. So
it's all compact. It's pretty much streamlined, I guess, at this point in order to do this,
and cheap, right? The HTC Vive environment that we were using back then was thousands of dollars. The MetaQuest is a few $100.
No, wow. Yeah. Okay, so this becomes a solution to any company if you're looking to make just at a trade show and do something special. This becomes very well within someone's budget then.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, at least on the platform side.
Right.
There's still the small matter of
developing something to go on there. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But my whole thing is obviously if you're investing in that, once you have the equipment, I would assume that it's something you would want to continue to do as time moves on and everything. That's pretty interesting.
8 years later, we have people who come to us now and they'll buy 5 or 6 headsets.
Gotcha.
Whether it's for a training application or a marketing application.
Yeah.
They're just so cheap.
Yeah. Okay. So it's become that common now that you can just pick the stuff up and it's not that big of an equipment expense as far as that is. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the idea, obviously, it seems like perfect solution. Of course, it's entertaining. It's cool. Take that to a trade show and it becomes like part of a cool marketing presentation and so forth. I get really excited when you start thinking about applications like around training and safety because you can simulate and train people and not put them in any harm, but still give them a very realistic feel for what they're going to be doing, whatever that job may be.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of the natural progression from doing the marketing piece was, hey, we could take this application and repurpose it and train people. We never did that for MSA, but we had other companies who were very interested in going down that route where either they have a manufacturing environment that's high turnover and they train people, over and over and over again on the same process or the same machine. We did a platform like that for Arconic, which actually got nominated and was a finalist for a Tech 50.
Man,
I think 6 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. All the Tech 50s blur into my head because they're always so much fun. And it's like, this will be our 28th coming up. We have coming up in November. So and I love the fact that seeing your work showcased and honored at Tech 50. Pretty cool stuff, man.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
They had us do a training environment for a specific machine that they run in one of their plants in Cleveland that trims the edges off of wheels for Boeing. So it's a machine that everybody who goes there uses. It's a high turnover environment.
Mm-hmm.
They have people who could have some experience in manufacturing. They have people who maybe yesterday were greeting people at Walmart. So all different types of people with different skill sets come in and they have to learn how to run this machine, how to set it up.
And they can set it up all virtually. So, man, talk about saving time, saving expenses, and being able to get a lot of people through it because you said it's high turnover. That's what I love. I love seeing technology solve a problem like that. That's awesome.
So they can go through that virtual training 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times until they're comfortable and then go on the floor. So that whole time that they're doing it virtually, they don't have to shut down a machine and take it off a line. And
well, there's exactly that as well too. Amazing solution. I tell you, we're going to take a quick break, but we're going to come right back. In case you just tuned in, we're talking to Mark Williams of OpenArc, and we're talking about all things VR, whether it's using it for marketing or for training purposes. We're going to come back and talk more about how OpenArc works with clients to do this, some of the cool clients they've worked with, which I think is just amazing. You talk about companies like Arconic and MSA. These are major brands here in Pittsburgh, and OpenArc's working with them. So Mark, hang tight with me. We're going to come right back. Is that cool?
Got it.
Excellent. Hey, in case you forgot, this is Jonathan Kirsting. I'm with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. We love helping tech companies succeed. We've been doing it since 1983. It's a thing now at this point. We just love it. We get fired up. Go to pghtech.org and learn all about it right there. Compunetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, Compunetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com. Every company needs to attract and keep talented people. To do it, you need a strong company story told by those who experience it every day, your employees. So invite your people to be your brand voice and let the Kindling Culture Agency gather and ignite your stories to engage and attract your people. Learn how at sparksomething.big.com. That's sparksomething.big.com. Your dial is set to Tech Vibe Radio, brought to you by Compunetics, Chorus Call, Highmark, Huntington Bank, Kindling, PNC Bank, and Savio. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios. Welcome back. I am glad you are still dialed into Tech Vibe Radio. Hope you're enjoying yourself this morning. We're trying to give you a little snapshot of the great, cool companies that are making Pittsburgh's technology community just a thing. And OpenArc's been one of those companies for a long time. They've been around. I don't know how long OpenArc's been around for. It's been at least 20 plus years.
2010.
Yeah, I'm on this thing. Okay. Oh my goodness. So we're talking to Mark Williams today. Mark, thanks for sticking around, hanging out with me this morning.
Absolutely.
Do appreciate you being here. He is the lead client partner at OpenArc. And we're talking about all things VR that OpenArc does. Because in our first segment, just talking about how you guys have been leaders in the VR field here in Pittsburgh. I mean, when it comes to working with industry and giving them great tools and solutions, whether it's marketing, training, and safety and so forth. And you work with some pretty impressive brands out there. Like you talk about Arconic and MSA. I'm like, it doesn't get much bigger than that in Pittsburgh as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, most of the companies that we've done this kind of work for are larger enterprises, which is interesting because a lot of times those are companies that tend to move slower.
It's a great point. That's a really good point. Sometimes they're a little like, hey, but you mentioned before, like MSA came to you saying, hey, we want to do VR. And you're like, well, let's figure that out.
Exactly. Same with Arconic, really.
Okay.
They had a similar thought, like, hey, we want to do something not just cool for the sake of doing something cool, but something that's going to help the business.
Right.
They had a real problem. They had some funds set aside for safety training, and it kind of fit into that mold perfectly, which is like a lot of the other big companies that we've worked with. It's been sort of that same theme, like, hey, we'll spend on safety all day long. We also want to do some things that are interesting, that, we have a big workforce that is on the verge of retiring, a lot of younger people who are very comfortable putting on a VR headset and doing all different, manner of things inside it, whether it's playing games or looking at 360 video or doing training applications. So
I love seeing that. I think the idea that like an old line company like an Arconic, that they're using cutting edge technology across everything they do. People just don't see it, but be able to take something like VR and you're training people with it. It really goes to show we're embracing technology here. We're using it wherever and however we can to make things better.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So you get to work with some fun folks then at the end of the day and build really cool solutions, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of the applications that we've done, we've had to send engineers and designers into the field, whether it's, Energy Transfer Partners, who's an oil and gas client. Their situation was they needed to come up with a training scenario that they could take to an OSHA conference and display that they're using these funds and they're training people in a manner that's different or kind of outside of the box. So that was sort of a mandate that they had. Hey, go out and find a scenario that is a difficult thing to train on, that you're using technology in a way that is different or kind of pushes the envelope. So they came to us. They had a scenario that was very dangerous. Like, people die if they do it wrong.
Whoa! What were they doing exactly? Like, that's crazy.
It's a process that they run to clean out like a gas line. So they put this thing, they call it a pig.
Okay.
It's a little plug essentially that they run down through this gas line, and they have to extract it. Well, It sounds easy enough, but they have to. There's a lot of pressure.
Got to be dangerous. Fumes. I mean, I can only imagine you're in a
Yeah.
dangerous environment. So to be able to train someone on that, through virtual reality,
Yeah.
get that, you're getting like 99% of the feels there, being able to do it. So when you are in that environment, A, they know how to do it, and B, they can do it so much more safely because it's like they've done it so many times before, right?
Exactly, and that was their whole thing, was to go in and say, hey, you can do this as many times as you want. You can blow up anything in this environment. Nobody's going to die.
Exactly.
Right? We're not going to lose any capital equipment.
Right.
And so yeah, they took it to this national conference in Texas, and it won.
You guys are like award winners here, man.
Yeah.
Like, making some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah,
That's got to make your job so much fun that you're working with industry on that side. You're bringing these tech solutions, marrying them together. And on top of that, then, I mean, you're improving safety for people as well, too. Like I always get, Audrey and I always get really excited when we see technology that's helping people out,
Yeah.
and finding that real business purpose is amazing. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's pretty cool stuff. Very cool stuff. So as I'm trying to think, like, I mean, as we move forward, like, how do you see the technology changing? Because I know in the past 8 years, it's changed tremendously. In our last segment, we were talking about how the cost of just the equipment have come down tremendously. I'm assuming every day it gets a little more realistic, right? Like, I can only imagine like where things are going to be going. Where do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I just think with all of the investment that's going into augmented reality and the heads-up displays and the glasses, the stuff that Facebook is, or the Meta are going to put out, are going to bring the cost of that stuff down. So if you look at where kind of Apple's AR devices are and where Microsoft was with HoloLens, is very unapproachable for, especially if you need, you're a company, you need to buy a bunch of these things.
Yeah, I need like 1,000 of these, please.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do that.
Right. So if you get something that's a couple of $100 and you can, have stuff that's already preloaded on there, or you can simply or cost effectively build solutions that are geared towards industry. I think that's the way we see it going.
Yeah. So tell me, like, as people approach you, like, I found it so interesting, as you mentioned before, that MSA came to you saying they wanted a virtual reality, experience for a marketing. This was like 8 years ago. As people approach you now looking for VR solutions, what are some recommendations, or what are some insights you give them before actually pursuing like a VR project? How do you know that it's going to make sense, or it's being, put towards the right application or so forth?
Yeah. So we always recommend that you pick something that's difficult, or dangerous, expensive to replicate in real life. You wouldn't train somebody in VR on how to put a seatbelt on or how to swing a hammer, because you can just pick those things up and show them how to do it in the real world. But to replicate an environment where there could be a hazard that is life-threatening, whether it's a situation where gas escapes, or something can crush a limb or something like that. Like if you can replicate that in VR, you can do it over and over and over again. People are visual learners, so the more times they see it, the better odds are when they get to the actual physical environment, they're going to understand it better.
I mean, it's just so effective. It just, the idea of being so submerged in it. I go back to like 6 or 7 years ago when I was doing that demo at our TechVibedeep Awards, and I just felt like I was on that ladder.
Yeah.
It really did. And I was like, well, I'm climbing into this like crazy like basement and like turning valves and everything. I think about that's much more impactful than saying, well, the diagram says after I make it down the ladder, I turn this valve, 3/4 of a turn to the left. It's like,
right.
Okay, I can maybe remember that, as opposed to actually going down there and like actually doing it. Like my brain was convinced.
Yeah. There's things that we've learned along the way about the way that people react to some things. So there's there are best practices that we bring into play to make sure people don't get disoriented or people don't get vertigo.
No, I think I was starting to get that when I was climbing back up the ladder.
Yeah, no, it can happen. Yeah, we've done some fall safety things where you've learned that you can't just let someone fall off the building.
Exactly.
They get really disoriented and sick. So we've learned some things along the way that help us do that more effectively.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing. Mark, I can't thank you enough for stopping by and hanging out with me. First off, I just love putting a spotlight on OpenArc. You guys have been great partners with the Tech Council for years and years and years. You guys have just been a tremendous resource to the tech community here. I mean, building these awesome solutions for companies like MSA and Arconic and so forth. Like, Cool stuff, man. You guys are the best.
Yeah, awesome, Jonathan. I appreciate you having us.
Yeah, and of course, go to openarc.net and check them out. You can learn the whole VR thing going on there, but see all the other services they have as well too. Like they're like, if you got a tech problem, they can kind of solve it for
Absolutely.
you, or they can staff it for you.
That's right.
However you want to go about it, that's for sure. Mark, you're the best. Appreciate you being here. This has been Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. Having way too much fun just talking to companies like OpenArc every Sunday. So keep tuning in. Hey, and if you want to listen to Tech Vibe anytime you want, we're on demand, of course, wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out. Just search for Tech Vibe. And we'll call it a day. Go to pghtech.org. We love helping tech companies succeed. Have a great Sunday, everybody. Compunetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, Compunetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com. Thanks for geeking out with us on Tech Vibe Radio. Tune in next Sunday for more tech and innovation stories right here from Pittsburgh. Tech Vibe is brought to you by Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, and Savior at savior.com. And we're always coming at you from the Huntington Bank Studios.